of the swarm, and then you had to go in and reset all your hotkeys every time. But hey, we're in here. Cue the movie thing.
Let's introduce these two players. In the bottom right position, we do have the red Zerg for Team mConn. It is Shaggy.
It wasn't him.
It wasn't me. But in the top left position, we do have the green Zerg. For Team AT, it is Slender. So, Slender is... I'm now terrified of him.
Uh-oh.
And if this game doesn't do anything exciting, I might share the story of my trip home from my second ever LAN. Where because I was casting till the very late in the night, I still had to get back for work on the Monday. And unfortunately, it was pitch black. My sat-nav took me through the middle of nowhere. I didn't know where I was. And we paused as well, so this is brilliant for the story. But yeah, middle of night, about 3 in the morning, in the middle of the countryside, no clue where I was. And I was like, at least it's not foggy. And then it became really foggy. And the person I was in the car with giving a lift to decided to tweet all like the admins and all the staff at the event who were staying another night. I was like, oh, how can we wind up medals? This will be fun. And so they started just tweeting me about like the Slender Man and shit. And then, of all times, there was a massive like pothole in the road, which like messed up my car's wheel. And it was a traumatic night is all I can say.
A traumatic night indeed. Oh, well, these players just wanted to make sure that the referee, Mr. EXE Wish, by the way, shout out to him. He's done a fantastic job in all these qualifiers. Really spot on about being able to find matchups for us. Great matchups so that we can get casting. But Mr. Slenderman, I don't know why everybody's so afraid of him, man. I haven't played that game, but I've watched a few people play it on Twitch, and I don't think it's that scary. You know what's actually scary, though, is spiders. Spiders terrify me.
They do. Have you watched the Marble Hornet series though on YouTube of Slenderman?
No.
See, that's pretty scary. If you watch that through, they're only like 2-3 minute videos. That gets pretty freaky. And I made the mistake of watching it, like most of it, one night in my bed on my iPad while I was falling asleep, and I didn't fall asleep after that.
Well, you might have to send those to me at some point here, and I might have to try to scare myself straight. Now, on the other hand, we do have this game going on. Our Zerg versus Zerg starting to progress here. We do have a 15 hatch coming out of our green Zerg, whereas it looks like a 15 pool into 15 hatch, the slightly more safe build here coming out of our mConn player.
Yeah, this is... Again, there's not too much of a difference between going hatch first and pool first if they're both at 15. It just means that for the pool, you get Zerg slightly sooner, you get your queen slightly sooner. For the hatch first, you get a slightly better economy long term, and it's ultimately very similar in my mind. The follow-ups are usually the same, that you'll get a gas down fairly soon afterwards, you'll get speed, you'll get your Baling Nest out, and just usually go towards the mid-game. Neither player really looking as if they're positioning themselves to become very aggressive with Ling Bling for the moment at least.
Yeah, the gas coming out of our green player significantly earlier here, but double gas now coming out of Mr. mConntem. And, well, it doesn't look like he's using that to do any kind of an overlord trick. He's actually just going to be going for double gas.
That is quite surprising, actually. He did delay his gas quite a bit compared to that of Slender. So he is about 30, probably going to be about 40 gas behind before he starts mining. But with the double gas, he will be able to catch up. And as such, this game is starting to become quite interesting.
It is indeed. Now, our green...
Are they Zerglings? Are they going to make it through?
Yeah, they're going to be able to get the full scout off up here and do scout out that extractor. They're going to be able to catch just how much gas, and now knows that there's been exactly 100 gas mined. Going to be able to spot that Zergling speed timing and giving Mr. Shaggy all the information that he needs.
He now knows precisely when the gas came down, how many gas. I believe the only thing he didn't actually see was, unless I'm mistaken, did he see if the drones were pulled from the gas or not? That was the only thing that he may not have spotted, which of course is something you should always check in ZVC, is that even if you see your opponent with the gas, are they mining from it? Because if we look at Shaggy's main base, he's only mining from one of his gas now as opposed to both.
Yeah, very interesting. He did mine about 64 gas. Is that exactly 64? Exactly 64. Nailed it. Math! But 64 gas from one of those, and now banking up a ton of gas as his Baneling Nest is going to be finishing. Going to be able to produce some Banelings right off the bat here. And looks like if he does produce them, they're going to be purely defensive.
Yeah, both players are gearing up to be quite defensive. Slender getting down his third gas now, though, as well as Lair. This is really indicative of a Roachling push. That is when you get the 3 gas. 4 gas, I'd say it's going to be Mutas. And now the 4th gas comes down. So,
Heyo.
Yeah, Mutas or Infestors, really, from this.
Yeah, you definitely don't need all 4 of those gases if you're just going for Roach, especially off of only 2 base. You simply don't have the mineral income to support that kind of Roach production. So definitely expecting some kind of the tier 2 tech coming in. Like you said, the Mutalisks, I don't mind Mutas on this map. They're very good at actually being able to hit the main base. But their avenues into the natural, as long as the 3rd is taken, are pretty limited. If you can hit before that 3rd comes up, that's actually pretty strong. But holy
look
moly,
at this Slender, so many Banelings.
So many Banelings indeed, but a couple going to be coming over here and will connect.
No,
oh no! A lot of Zerglings going down right there, and that was the tanking ability for these Banelings. There's 2 more going to come in, and this attack is now going to do absolutely nothing.
Well, Shaggy was very lucky with those 2 Banelings, which weren't even on attack command, might I add. The Zerglings actually just, like, bit them to death.
Yeah, Slender was multitasking somewhere else, and you could see the Banelings trying to crash in right there. A little bit unfortunate. With all those Banelings being used, his gas bank is now not that high for his transition into the Mutas.
He was clearly hoping to do some more damage there, but Shaggy coming through the counterattack with an awful lot of speedlings coming straight towards the natural. Some Banelings are there. 2 more defensive Banelings are morphing, and that will force Shaggy back for the moment. He's going to have to try and engage those very carefully if he does go in now.
And yeah, like you said, going to be falling back, though. Was able to get the scouting information out and put a little bit of pressure out of his opponent, trying to force out a little bit more defenses. And yes, 1 additional Spine Crawler will be dropped, just forcing out a couple of Banelings. And now going to be fighting with those Zerglings to try to take some map control. Going to run into a Baneling right here, though. And another big Baneling hit. 8 Banelings going down right there.
This was, that levels things out, actually. I do believe. Shaggy now having lost a similar big group of Zerglings as Slender did earlier on, but what we're seeing is both players going for the Spire. This is indicative of, I reckon, because they're both going Spire, they've both been playing a lot of Heart of the Swarm, because that is what ZVZ has become now.
And it's going to be interesting, because in Heart of the Swarm, Mutalisks are actually significantly faster than they are right now in Wings of Liberty, and that can actually throw your game off a little bit if you're not really feeling, if you're not super comfortable with the current speed of the Mutalisks in this game. You might be thinking, oh, I can make that corner, I can cut them off right there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, these are 20% slower in Wings of Liberty.
That is very true. So 3rd base is coming down for both players at the moment. The Muta count, though, for Slender already up to 8. Getting 2 more out, it's going to be 10 Mutas in the center of the field. We can see some Overlords are popping. And, well, this is going to be quite frustrating for Shaggy, who's getting 9 Mutas out ASAP. But how much damage can be done before they do spawn?
Going to be working on the Spine Crawler. Nope, flies right by the Spine Crawler. He's going for the Space Shark! Just kidding. He's going to take out the Queen instead. Maybe try to focus down a Baneling or 2.
The 3rd base is going down to things, though.
Yeah, and that one is gone. No cancel. Muta versus Muta action right here on top of the hatchery, but the rest of the Mutalisks are going to be coming in. And Slender going to have to retreat with his. Going to try to pick off an Overlord and escape. And will be able to successfully get that Overlord.
Indeed. So, looking at the damage done so far, Shaggy has lost a bit more than his opponent. Slender does still have... No, actually, they're bang on equal in the Muta count, 9 apiece. So, very close there. But we're seeing now that Shaggy is just cleaning out some Zerglings that made it into his natural mineral line. But the 3rd base is so much sooner now for Slender.
Yeah, I feel that Slender's actually in a really good position. He's also been able to start his +1 Flyer Carapace upgrade. So his Mutalisks are going to be extremely effective in even in a little bit behind in numbers when he's engaging with his opponent. And with the higher Mutalisk count at this point, actually, yeah, higher by 1, he's still going to be in a pretty good position to actually deal a lot of damage if he should choose to attack.
He could do an awful lot of damage, but coming into the 3rd with those speedlings yet again is gonna force another denial. Almost certainly the cancel's gotta come now, and there we go, it does get cancelled this time. But as we can see, Spores only one Sport and 2 Queens there. And is the Spire going to try and get focused down? This is a big commitment out of Slender.
And yeah, he's going to be able to take out the Spire right here. Going to end up losing about 3 Mutalisks as a result. But, well, I would say that's definitely worth it. And instead of reproducing a Spire, Shaggy going for a tech transition, going to drop the Hydralisk Den. But yes.
Oh my goodness, we can see now Shaggy with such a great position with his mutas there. He's going to get a lot of Slender's mutas for free. But of course, Slender can produce more, whereas Shaggy can't.
And Slender will, in fact, continue to produce some. If we take a look at the muta count, currently 17, but the continued production coming out of our green Zerg going to be pretty good as they're going to engage once more, but low life on a lot of these green mutas. I don't know if Slender's actually going to get the good engagement, and no, he's losing a ton of Mutalisks right here. He needs to back off, but going to come in with reinforcements, and now he's able to commit once again, and mConNHL going to have to fall back. Not going to be able to reproduce, going to rely on the Hydralisks now.
Yep, he's got to run away ASAP. The Hydras are on their way out. 10 are in production. There's none on the field yet, but Hydras, without the creep spread joining to the third, just means that Slender can relentlessly deny that third base. And of course, Slender has been ahead in terms of the worker count for quite a while now. The muta count is now favoring Slender quite significantly. The Hydras, they've got a lot of work to do.
And the Hydras will be able to drive the Mutalisks back. Actually, Mutas engaging Mutas on top of Hydras. Going to lose one Muta and take a lot of damage on some others. And Slender getting really aggressive, looking like he wanted to engage on those. Needs to be extremely careful, though. Those Hydras will shred through his Mutas, +1 armor or not. And the Muta is going to be going back once again. Zerglings on the ground. There's a couple of Banelings in there, but great control with the Zerglings. Going to be able to actually deal a lot of damage on the ground. And the Mutas are able to finish off every one of the Mutas in the air.
Wow. This is getting seriously, seriously close. The only big difference now is Shaggy went for a massive drone wave. Now up to 73 drones, the 57 of Slender, and is now on equal basis. But look at this, the Muta's coming into the main. Beef. We could see some good damage done here. That Roach Warren and Hydra Den looking very vulnerable. Yeah, the Hydralisks are pretty damn far away. Not going to be able to get over here in time. And this Hydralisk Den, good micro on the Mutalisks. They're actually backing them off. And this Hydralisk Den surely going to go down before finishing group spines. Another big pick off from the Mutalisks of ATSlender. Now, all while you're picking off these units as fast as you can, picking off the tech, you're getting further ahead. My concern for Slender is ultimately that he's behind in workers now, and there's a Hydras on the field, and we can see now Shaggy across the map. He is indeed, but these Mutalisks going to do their best to stall this push. That's what they are best at, is trying to assert map control, and they're going to try to poke in, pick off one unit at a time, and just delay this push for as long as possible to get out as many ground units as he can. Right now, sitting on Zerglings, a few Banelings, and a few Roaches. One Spine Crawler in the mix, but mConNHL actually has the vastly superior ground army, as the Lynx are going to poke in, try to get a read on what's going on, and if this green army engages, I don't know. This is going to be a very close fight. It will be. The Baneling connections are going to be so critical. The Hydra's trying to retreat as best they can. So slow off of creep though. The Mutas are going in for it. The Baneling from the side, but the Roach is tanking up so much of the damage there. It looks like for the moment the Hydras have been cleaned out, and as such, Slender's Mutalist will be able to clean out the remaining Roaches, but it's how much damage Shaggy is able to do before his units all fall. And we'll see right here. The Roaches are going to have to back off, and Shaggy dipping into the 130 supply mark right now. Going to be trying to full out retreat with the rest of his speed Roaches, but I don't know if they're going to make it back to town safely. The reproduction coming in here. There are 7 more Hydras in production with 4 on the field. Might be enough to clean up these Mutalisks if they're not supported properly from the ground, but ATSlender has been able to reproduce these Roaches. They're moving their way across the field. I don't know. I think that Shaggy could be in a little bit of trouble. He's got a pretty healthy defense over here at his third, but the Mutalisks just going to fly right around it. Yeah, those Mutas are just going to come and harass into the third base. They're going to pick off the drones at the gas and the geyser itself. And, well, even with the Spore Crawler there, we've got just a lot of damage being done. A couple of Mutas on a bad rally point. They're flying straight over the Queens and Hydras. But Slender, I can't help but feel that he's really taking a good control of this game right now. Well, he's about to sacrifice a lot of units, but he's going to get paid for it. Down goes the natural hatchery. The Roaches making their way into the main as well, trying to clean up drones, Queens, tech.
whatever they can find. But now the Red Army going to be moving back in. I'm not even talking about Soviet Russia. I'm talking about the Red Zerg going to try to come in and clean out his main. The lair going to be saved.
The problem, though, Beef, is the third base for Shaggy. It is being assaulted by those muters, and they have killed off the Spore Crawler. So many drones are dying at the moment. This third is trying to get saved by these Hydras, but they are so slow to get back.
Yeah, off creep, extremely, extremely slow. Don't have that speed upgrade like they do in Heart of the Swarm. And now they're going to be engaging with the Mutalisks. Managed to pick off a couple, but Slender able to just walk his way up onto the unattackable high ground and make his way out to the left. Actually going to try to re-engage.
And I think that's a good move because the Hydras have already moved forward. More drones are going to go down already. 37 have been killed this game. That is insanely high. But Shaggy, kind of realizing that actually I'm not going to be able to keep up the economical fight, is moving across the map. Is Slender going to have enough of a standing army to defend this? He does have 26 roaches and those mutants, but the 16 Hydras could prove to be a problem.
And the drones are being pulled. He is all in with this one. Needs to bring the Milos back right now. I don't know if Slender knows just how much trouble he's in. He is up right now by about 25 army supply, but no static defense, and really he's only working with about 28 roaches here on the ground. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold this.
He should be pulling those mutants back, and he is now. He's trying to get the best attack arc as he possibly could. Shaggy pulling all of his drones as well to just tank up some of this damage. He is going for an almighty all-in, bringing the end to this engagement. The Spine Crawlers are in completion, but we see Slender does seem to be coming out on top. The Mutants now joining in as well, and I think with that, Slender is going to be able to take game one. Shaggy's supply plummeting, and with this push getting cleaned up, there is no way Shaggy will get back into this, and there is the GG, and game one goes to Slender.